They thought we were weak. They were wrong. Chapter 1, The Desolate World. The planet of their Elm 3 was a wasteland, but not without its beauty. Stretches of tattered forests lay in ruins, their silvery leaves falling like flakes of dust on the charcoal-black soil. Jagged mountains jutted toward the sky, casting long shadows over the remnants of a forgotten civilization. Once an important outpost in the galactic empire, it had faded from memory, leaving only the echoes of what was. Captain Mira Asher had always been drawn to the edges of the galaxy. She led the archaeological team known as the Terra Collective, a loose assembly of historians, scientists, and engineers determined to uncover the truth about humanity's origins. However, their mission was shrouded in secrecy, labeled illegal by an empire uncomfortable with memories of humanity's past dominance. They could not risk drawing attention. They were here not just to dig, but to unearth the legacy buried beneath the surface, literally and figuratively. Set up camp here, Mira ordered her team, her voice steady but her heart racing. Each day spent on their Elm 3 could lead them closer to understanding why their kind had fallen from grace, and what their role in the galaxy was meant to be. The team comprised a diverse group. Dr. Alicia Farrell, the head archaeologist and linguistic expert, was already examining ancient glyphs etched into the few surviving stone structures. Her intense green eyes glinted with a trace of excitement. Malik, the group's resident engineer, was busy unpacking scanning devices, while Jess, the team medic, ensured that the supplies remained in order. Rounding out their small group was June, a tech whiz whose knack for software made him indispensable. For days, they had scoured the landscape, unearthing artifacts and remnants of technology that hinted at advanced knowledge well beyond what the Empire would admit. But it was the recent discovery, a set of encoded data fragments, that electrified the already charged atmosphere of their camp. They had stumbled upon something that could change the course of human history. Chapter 2, Secrets Unearthed. Days turned into weeks as they continued to gather data, but the fragments remained stubbornly encrypted. Each sleepless night melded into the next as the group huddled together under flickering lights, struggling to decipher the ancient language that had eluded them for so long. "Let me try the decryption file again," June said, exhaustion evident in his voice as he stared at the holographic console filled with alien symbols and text. As the words began to untangle, a chilling realization crept over the team. "Listen to this," Alicia said, her fingers trembling with awe as she read the newly translated text. "It references a time when humanity wasn't a subdued species under the Empire but a powerful force across the galaxy, a civilization that built the very framework of interstellar travel." "What does it say about the fall?" Mira asked, her stomach tightening at the thought. "A history of greatness was a potent weapon against the Empire, but it came with dangers of its own. It mentions a catastrophic event, a war between factions. Humans had developed weapons of such devastation that it led to their near extinction," she replied, her brow furrowed in concern. "It seems like the Empire has hidden much of this from us. They've buried the truth." "What about the weapon?" Malik interjected, pointing at the fragment on the screen that had drawn their attention. "It could either be our salvation or our doom. If we can find it." "Assuming it even exists," Mira cut in, wary of grasping at a mirage. "Finding a dormant weapon carries its own risks." "But if we can weaponize it before the Empire finds out," June whispered, his excitement barely contained. Myra's mind raced with possibilities, the implications of their findings swirling in a tempest of dread and hope. If they unleashed the weapon, it could level the playing field, or trigger annihilation. Chapter 3, A Race Against Time. They decided to split their efforts. Half of the team would work on decoding the rest of the data fragments while the other half began searching the surrounding area for the weapon referenced in the texts. Time was limited, their activities had begun to attract unwanted attention. The Empire's patrols were becoming more frequent, and every time Mira caught a glimpse of a passing ship, a weight settled heavy on her shoulders. The Empire would do anything to suppress knowledge of humanity's potential, and if they discovered what the team was truly after, they would not hesitate to eradicate them. After days of feverish searching, Mira and Malik stumbled upon a concealed entrance leading underground. It was obscured by ancient vines, but ahead lay a dark tunnel lined with strange murals. "What if we're just digging our own graves?" Malik asked, half joking but carrying an undercurrent of fear. "Exactly why we should proceed with caution," Mira replied. "This is more than just a weapon, it's a monument to our history." As they ventured deeper into the tunnels, they found technological relics echoing an era of grandeur. Holographic maps of galaxies from a time long past filled the walls. A central chamber awaited them, bathed in a soft blue light emanating from a bifurcated control console connected to a vast array of dormant machinery. Could it be? Malik exclaimed, eyes wide as he stepped closer. Yes. This might be it. Mira caught her breath, excitement mingling with trepidation. As they approached the console, she felt the weight of history reverberating in the air, whispering secrets of the bygone age. Her fingers brushed over the control panel, and the holographic map sprang to life, revealing the vast interconnections of human settlements and lost technological advancements. Chapter 4: The Forbidden Knowledge. Back at camp, Alicia and Jess analyzed the data fragments while June ran diagnostics on the relics they had unearthed. The unearthed weapon, or network as they had begun to call it, was something beyond their wildest imaginings, a wide-ranging means of unleashing human dominance if activated. "As we piece at this, I can't help but wonder what the Empire would do if they found it," Jess said softly. A chill settled in the clearing as night fell. "They'd destroy it, and us along with it," Alicia replied, her tone grim. "Or they'd take it for themselves," Malik suggested, eyes narrowed. "It would be just like them, not trusting anyone with power except themselves." As the implications settled in, a shared understanding flickered in the air. They were no longer a team of archaeologists simply seeking the past, they had become guardians of humanity's potential future, a legacy systematically erased by an oppressive regime. "The greatness we find here could either bind us in chains or set the galaxy ablaze," Mira said, her resolve hardening. "We have a choice, but with knowledge comes responsibility." Chapter 5: The Reckoning. The delicate dance with time started to slip as urgency escalated. Under the cover of darkness, they gathered to discuss what they would do next. "Tomorrow, we need to fully access the weapon's data," Mira stated. "If it could awaken dormant forces within humanity, we can at least decide how best to do so." "What if it's a trap?" Alicia questioned. "What if the history we've unearthed is meant to lead us astray?" "We must take that chance," Mira replied fiercely. "We carry the weight of our ancestors on our shoulders. We can't turn back now." The days soon became a blur, encircled by endless scanning of relics in the tunnels and monitoring the skies for Imperial ships. The thrill of discovery suffered the unmistakable feeling that they were, indeed, being watched. On a seemingly innocuous afternoon, scanners picked up a fleet heading toward their LM-3, a ship cloaked ominously in the Empire's insignia. The air crackled with tension. "We must flee!" Malik cried, panic rising in his voice. "We can't leave without the data," Mira countered dangerously. "We must extract what we can before they seize it all." Chapter 6: Choices of a New Era. The ensuing hours were chaotic. As they scrambled to download the crucial data, the presence of the Empire felt even more suffocating. Alarms blared, and the ground shook as stormtroopers breached the entrance to the station. "Grab what you can!" Mira barked, urgency flooding her thoughts. They sent a final override command to secure their data as gunfire erupted. The team braced for impact, adrenaline surging as they fought back. Bullets whizzed past, and Mira felt the heat of one nearly graze her shoulder as she ducked behind a barricade of debris. There was no time to spare. The echoes of their ancestors urged her onward, a celestial chorus of hope intertwined with fear. With a final surge of courage, she cued a detonation of one of the ancient security mechanisms. As waves of energy pulsed throughout the cavern, the foundations of the chamber erupted in a spectacular explosion, the hall ablaze with luminescent colors. "Go!" Mira shouted, her heart racing. Alicia, Malik, Jess, and June fled into safety, the monstrous destruction forcing the Empire's advance back several crucial seconds. Chapter 7, Confronting the Past. With their data secured, the team barely escaped into the barren landscape surrounding the tunnels. They assembled in a hastily chosen ravine, adrenaline pumping while the Empire closed in. "It's only a matter of time before they find us." Alicia stared grimly at the horizon, deep in thought. "When they do, we must decide whether to expose what we found," Mira said, struggling to remain calm. "This cannot end here. Our people deserve to know who they are." "And if it leads to our demise?" Jess queried. "Then we die knowing we swept away the shackles of ignorance," Mira asserted with newfound conviction. "Because the slaughter that awaits without this knowledge will eclipse anything we fear now." With veiled urgency but resolute hearts, they set a plan in motion. They would disseminate the fragments of humanity's lost glory and brace for the onslaught to follow. Perhaps even sparking the rebellion they were desperate to witness, driving a dagger deep into the Empire's stronghold. Chapter 8, Rebirth of the Ancients. Weeks later, a collective of rebel forces began to form. The encoded data they had risked everything to gather became the blueprints of a fledgling revolution. Knowledge flowed like wildfire, igniting hope among oppressed colonies held under the Empire's yoke. Through encrypted waves, Myra's voice rang clear among the channels, "Hear us, children of Earth. We are not alone in the void. We once ruled the stars, and we shall rise again." Yet the journey ahead was fraught with danger. The data, wielded as both a weapon and a light, became the rallying cry of humanity's resurgence. In the heart of their Realm 3, amidst the rubble they had unearthed, they had reignited the embers of their lost kingdom. Hope and courage surged among survivors as the forgotten past whispered promises of a brighter future, not just survival, but rebirth. Chapter 9, The Brave New Dawn. With rebellion brewing, Mira stood on the precipice of destiny. The Earth, once cradle and home, had become a beacon of power again. She could hear the echoes of the ancients resonating throughout the cosmos, guiding her every decision. Of course, the reality was a far cry from the tales she had heard as a child. The old galactic order had collapsed. But humanity was stirring, awakening to its rightful place among the stars. The Galactic Empire would tremble at the resurgence of a people who never forgot where they came from, and now stood ready to reclaim their dominance. All they needed was the courage to challenge the tyrants cloaked in shadows. And finally, with bravery coursing in their veins, humanity began to prepare for the confrontations that lay ahead. The echoes of Terra would rise once more. The end.